harness for the under the hood. Yesterday I got all my plumbing done under here. My hoses for my compressor and for my heater are all set up. This morning I've run the wiring harness that comes through the firewall and out to the battery. I've got it pulled in. I've got it tucked behind the fender, between the fender and the skirt to make it clean. I got my my circuit block mounted to the inside of the fender, and I've got my ground wires on, and things are coming along nicely. So the next couple of things I'm going to have to do is I'm going to wire up my hot all the time wire to the battery, positive side obviously, and I'm going to wire my blue wire to my binary switch out on the receiver dryer, and then from there back to the compressor. So I'm going to bring the camera over, I'll show you where I'm at, and we'll get the rest of this wired. Next thing you know, we'll be putting a battery in, then we can start working back on the inside and testing all the stuff on the dash, getting everything put back together, and as we go along, making sure everything works. So let me bring the camera over, I'll show you where we're at. So here we are, back over here in the corner is where my wire comes through the firewall. I got it tucked behind the fender liner in here. It comes out just over here. I mounted my junction block here. The white wires are the ground wires, so I grounded them to the fender here and then tied them into the battery ground, which is here, and over to the ground cable of the battery. My next thing is going to be my positive wire here, which I'm going to wire to my positive side of the battery cable there. And then I've got this blue wire. This blue wire goes to this binary switch, which is right here on the receiver dryer. There's a binary switch that has two prongs on it. Wire coming off of the harness coming through the firewall goes to one prong, and then it comes off of the other prong and then is wired to the wire that's on the compressor. So I'm going to get that wire run and wire in my red hot wire to the battery, and then I can set my battery in and we'll be in pretty good shape. When vehicles get old like this, you know, people mess with things, splice things into other things. So I did a lot of weeding out type of things on the on some of the wiring here. So I got that squared away. I'm going to bring the camera over. I'll show you what it all looks like. Some of the things are a little temporary because I do have to have the AC lines crimped, and I don't have the tool. I have a guy that does it for me, so I'm going to get that done. And so I'm just going to bring the camera over and I'll show you what things look like. Here's my battery all mounted in where it should be. I got my ground comes over to here, goes into my white harness, which goes back behind the fender and goes to the firewall. Got my red wire that comes down here, kind of follows my battery cable, and that's going to bolt right on there when I'm ready to go. I got my wire that comes off of my compressor that goes through here, comes around this way, goes to my binary switch here. The other wire comes off of there and follows the harness all the way back into the passenger compartment through the firewall. My hoses for my AC, these are the two that need to be crimped, so I haven't really finished this off because they're going to have to take these, you know, unbolt them from here and put the tool on it to crimp these. So, but I do have them where I need them to be. This is the way it will look. I also have another one that's back in here that's going to have to be crimped. It's on behind the radiator support. Other than that, pretty much everything out here is good to go. I want to talk to you about the thermostat. I removed the housing, put the 180-degree thermostat in there. What I like to do is drill a small hole in the side of the thermostat housing. That way the thermostat will self-purge any air that is in the system. What I've noticed on some of these other ones that I've done is I get a little air pocket, and then the temperature fluctuates up and down as the thermostat opens and closes. So I found that if I drill a small 3/16 hole in the thermostat, it purges out any air, and I get nice level cooling. I know that I had the problem on my first one, and I went on some forums and this and that and called the folks at Vintageair, and basically a guy at Vintageair turned me on to putting a small hole in the thermostat and definitely cured my problem. So I'd recommend everybody just do that right out of the gate. So I got that handled. All my hoses, all my lines, everything under here looks really good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go inside the car and I'm going to get all of my wiring and everything, my radio, my dash and everything back on the inside, and then we're done.